You're listening to Independent TV 7. Yeah, on the headline, so very funny. It says Joe Biden and Tinubu pledged their administration's commitment to the long standing relationship between Nigeria and the United States. Now, on the headline, Biden praises Tinubu's leadership after first meeting in India. Again, Biden praises Tinubu's leadership after first meeting in India. Joe Biden and Tinubu pledged their administration's commitment to the long-standing relationship between Nigeria and the United States. As Biden praises Tinubu's leadership after first meeting in India, sources from presidency. Biden also praised Tinubu for the strides made by his administration to reform the Nigerian economy. The United States president said this during the inaugural meeting between himself and Tinubu on the sidelines of the G20 in New Delhi, India, on Sunday, September 10th, 2023. The Nigerian president, who joined other world leaders in the South Asian country for the 18th summit of the G20, also held a series of sideline events, especially with the Indian private sector, who pledged over $14 billion investment in Nigeria. Again, the Nigerian president, who joined other world leaders in the South Asian country for the 18th summit of the G20, also held on a series of sideline events, especially with the Indian private sector, who pledged over $14 billion. That is $14 billion investment in Nigeria. During the brief chat, the two leaders discussed the plans to reinforce the enduring commitment to the United States Nigeria relationship and the long-standing friendship between the two countries and peoples. This was contained in a terse statement posted on the United States government's official website on Sunday. President Joe Biden met with Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today on the sidelines of the G20 in New Delhi, India. The statement read in part. President Biden welcomed the Tinubu administration's step to reform Nigeria's economy and thanked the President Tinubu for his strong leadership as the chair of the Economic Community of West African States to defend and preserve democracy and also the rule of law in Niger and the broader region. Now, Nigeria's invitation to the G20 summit is a recognition of Nigeria's important global role as Africa's largest democracy and economy. It concluded. President Joe Biden welcomed the Tinubu administration's steps to reform Nigeria's economy and thanked the President Tinubu for his strong leadership as the chair of the Economic Community of West African States to defend and preserve democracy and the rule of law in Niger Republic and the broader region. Now, for his part, the Nigerian president used the opportunity to reaffirm that the strong relations between the two countries, while further expressing his desire for more robust engagement in the near future to discuss economic cooperation, democracy and regional stability, multilateral reforms, and other key issues. Read a statement by the federal government, which says Nigeria's invitation to the G20 summit is a recognition of Nigeria's important global role as Africa's largest democracy and economic value, and it has been concluded that Joe Biden earlier sent an invitation for a meeting with his Nigerian counterpart at the United Nations General Assembly, which is UNGA, later in the month. And meanwhile, for those that may not really understand, which the narrative says Nigeria's invitation to the G20 summit is a recognition of Nigeria's important global role. For his path, the Nigerian president used the opportunity to reaffirm the strong relations between the two countries while further expressing his desire for more robust engagement in the near future to discuss economic cooperation, democracy, and regional stability. Also, multilateral reforms and other key issues, which has been read in a statement by the federal government. Biden had earlier sent an invitation for a meeting with his Nigerian counterpart at the United Nations General Assembly later in the month. The United States President's invitation was conveyed through a United States Presidential Envoy and Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, Ambassador Molifi. Ambassador Molifi is the Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, Ambassador Molifi, during a meeting with Tinubu at the State House in late August. That is where we can, read truth for today as it is, because Tinubu is just soaring higher. Is going haywire, meeting Joe Biden, in Delhi. According to the report we have here, it says Biden praises Tinubu's leadership after first meeting in India. And Biden and Tinubu pledged their administration's commitment to the long-standing relationship between Nigeria and the United States. Yes, Nigeria and the United States. Yeah, Nigeria also is under United Nations. Nigeria is a part of AU, African Union, European Union, and the ECOWAS. To mention but a few, I believe Tinubu has really won the heart of other African countries, or other international organizations, with his economic prowess. And I believe if Tinubu is given chance, he will lead Nigeria to the promised land. But as it is, Tinubu has his own antecedent and things that we call nemesis, or I don't know how it's usually bounced back, or how it's usually done, because I believe doing good is doing good. But Tinubu has done well for himself. Let's give him kudos to that. But I believe everybody have is our past. So past hunting Tinubu now does not really mean he's a bad person all through, or is a negative person all through, because what has transpired in his life, and what he has got, and what he has achieved in his life, I believe God is the ultimate. Now, talking about Biden, who also praised Tinubu for the strides made by his administration to reform the Nigerian economy, which the Nigerian and the United States, come in conjunction. The United States president said that the inaugural meeting, would enable Nigeria and Tinubu as a president on the sideline of the G20 in New Delhi. That the Nigerian president, who joined other world leaders in the South Asian country for the 18th summit of the G20, has been said that especially with Indian private sector, who pledged over $14 billion investment in Nigeria. That is another round of applause. Well, finally, during the brief chat, the two leaders discussed plans to reinforce the enduring commitment to the United States-Nigeria relationship and the long-standing friendship between the two countries and people. Well, this is what I'm going to draw the curtain. I'd like you to share views in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Independent TV7. Thanks for listening, and God bless you real good.